Hey everyone, today we're talking about comfrey, a great plant for the garden that all the pollinators will love. But specifically, I just want to talk a little bit about how the lines are blurred between edible and poisonous with comfrey, and is it actually safe to eat? Is it going to kill you and destroy your liver? That takes a little bit of unpacking. Sometimes with wild plants, we can have a plant or a mushroom that is potentially poisonous and edible and has a long culinary tradition of use. And this is exactly the thing that we have going on with comfrey. So humans have been, working with this plant for thousands of years. I was introduced to it as a healing plant, but also as an edible, and no one told me that there was anything wrong with eating it. The reason I didn't eat lots of it, we had tons of it growing at the farm that I lived at. The reason I didn't eat a lot of it is because the leaves are really furry. And borage is also easy to grow, is in the same family, and it tastes way better than comfrey leaves. Comfrey flowers are a different story, and I've been serving those for over 10 years, and I serve them on salads in small amounts. I serve the whole flower clusters, never a lot, but I will put a sprinkle on salads, and I think it's totally fine to eat small amounts in moderation. So there are actually a couple instances of comfrey leaves being used as a food. But first, I'll read you a little excerpt from Sam Thayer because he is just so succinct and, kind of clarifies a number of things here. So this is from Sam Thayer's Field Guide to Edible Plants of North America regarding comfrey. Warning, comfrey contains pyrrolizidine alkaloids, which are liver toxins, the greens much less than the root. While the greens have been eaten for thousands of years, chronic consumption of large amounts has resulted in serious medical issues. However, most comfrey-related problems have resulted from persistent medical use of the roots or comfrey root tea or extracts. Okay, so what do we learn there? First, Sam's awesome. Secondly, dosage can make the poison, but also which part of the plant are you talking about? So if you look online and see, comfrey poisoning, more than likely, they're probably talking about people who are using the root. Just like pokeweed, comfrey roots have a lot more of these problematic compounds than the greens. And if you're also wondering, I looked it up. It did not seem like alkaloids are water soluble. So if blanching would make something more safe, I will eat the greens occasionally. But they're not that great, and they're always in a blend. There are some culinary traditions that involve eating comfrey greens. There's two of them that I want to talk to you about. The first one comes from Patience Gray. If you are a forager and you don't have this book, buy this book. If you're a gardener, get this book. It's an awesome book, old school. There's no pictures, but the information is fantastic. First-hand account of a forager and talented cook who travels all over Europe eating wild plants and interesting foods, meats, all kinds of stuff. So Patience Gray says, it's called consolida in Italian, comfrey. Having transplanted a wild form of comfrey from the neighboring ravine into the garden and having imported Russian comfrey, I sometimes include their leaves in a dish of weeds. Picking a handful of comfrey leaves in the spring when it reappears, a handful of wild seabeet, and some young leaves of borage growing wild, and some shoots of fennel, I wash them all, tear them apart, and throw them into a wet pan containing hot olive oil. Turning them about in the pan, their liquor first exudes and then evaporates. After a few minutes, the dish is ready to serve with grated pecorino cheese. Oddly enough, one can do a hard day's work on this when eaten with good bread. Okay, so then we have one decent tradition of eating wild comfrey greens here. The other one, which I do not have any video of cooking or anything, but I have made it, comes from Kenya. And in Kenya, if you look on YouTube, there are a host of videos where people are shown cooking. They're showing themselves cooking comfrey greens in their kitchen to make a extremely traditional dish called mukimo or mukimo. Probably butchered the pronunciation a little bit there. So coincidentally, I actually have relatives with Kenyan heritage. So thank you to my second cousin Odera and his wife Wanjira for letting me occasionally pester them with questions about traditional Kenyan foods. So this dish is basically potatoes, beans, corn, and comfrey greens that are boiled and then all mashed together. And it's eaten as a side dish for wet fry, or by itself. Wet fry is kind of like a beef curry. And this is a super traditional food. And this, it really gave me some pause, because I just saw how many people are making this. How often are people eating this? Personally, I made it. It's okay. It was extremely difficult to photograph anything with chunks of corn in it. A green mashed potato with chunks of corn in it. This is so difficult to photograph, but it's good. There's nothing offensive about it. Am I going to eat it all the time? No. But I think that having these cultural examples and the ethnobotany to, kind of balance the scale against resources that might say, oh, it's going to kill you, is important. So what you can do with the plant, what I do with the plant, typically, I grow the plant. I love it for how the pollinators love it. You're going to have bees all over the place. The plant is also really high in nutrients that other plants need. So you can put the leaves in water and let them ferment until they stink like a corpse, and then put that on your plants. Or you can just take the leaves of the plant and put it around plants, and it will give them nutrients. So it's a great plant for the garden, and it's okay to eat some once in a while, or to sprinkle the flowers on salads raw, but I'm never going to be eating a lot of it. Thanks for watching.